I dropped my watch off my Fifth Ave penthouse balcony, darlings. Don't you just hate it when time flies? Oh, that was clever. How droll of me. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, an action-packed episode because I've acquired my Grail jacket, the V-Racer from Belstaff, typical of watch obsessive types to apply watch terms to, you know, the Grail jacket, the Grail watch, to every other purchase now. But yeah, is it worth it? It's extremely expensive. Do a little mini review of that. Also discussing the fallout from my recent 5512 Submariner video, because it's basically ruined my my appreciation of Tudor now. So yeah, quite a lot to get into. Oh, and by the way, quick wristwatch check. Wearing the Nevada Gentian Meteorite dial F77, absolutely gorgeous, fully titanium. Still loving this watch. So last month I borrowed a Rolex Submariner 5512 from Shreve, Crump and Lowe in fantastic condition considering its age, but not without its negatives, which I discussed, so refer back to that video for more. But I was so besotted with this absolutely legendary watch that when I returned it, I'm ashamed to admit I've been stalking it every single day on the website. Part of me kind of praying it would sell, and the other part considering what I have to sell to get it. My current subby, the Tudor 79079, ticks all the boxes. I even serviced it and pressure tested it so I could wear it as it was intended, as the ultimate sports watch for the active lifestyle. But since trying the 5512, going back to my darling little Tudor is a bit like going back to New York pizza after eating the real thing in Napoli.
Quante? 5 minuti e sono da lei. Allora, qua stiamo a paese del pizzo, le pizze mangiamo tutte io.
E stiamo no, la pizza non andiamo a mangiare.
Io chiedo come posso fare, ma mi cacciano dal locale.
Ma non mi interessa, ma dico come do.
Il Neboli, mi guardate cosa come sta, Neboli, che non faccio, buonanotte.
No, ti sbattiamo a te conosci.
Questa è brucia casa. Ma porta gelare, dai. Assaggiare. Mi fa schifo pure all'avril.
Ma ti sta gianito.
Yes, NYC does have some decent pizza, I'll admit that much. And of course, I've tried all the highly revered places, so don't bother to say, oh, have you tried this place, that place? You can put money on it. I've been there.
We've got two very different doughs, Mr. Italiano, which is just flour, water, salt, yeast, and the American version containing not only sugar, but also being fermented completely different with significantly more yeast and a different type of flour.
It will always fall short of pomodoro grown under the sun of the Campania region, mozzarella made from latte that comes from cows grazing on the volcanic earth of Vesuvius, giving it a taste just like the water used, in fact, to make the ingredients, and the basilico too, a taste you simply cannot replicate outside of Italia. And that is just a sad fact. Anyway, this food metaphor is starting to make me hungry, and maybe I should just book a plane ticket back to the old country and be done with it. But the pulchritudinous symmetry of the dial, the feeling of owning a much rarer and understated subby, and that sexy ghost bezel, che figo ragazzi, che figo. What can I say? Now, to make matters worse, Rolex put out a collaboration book, and the insidious shield tube algorithm actually did me a favor and recommended me a very good video by a chap, I believe his name is Austin. A shout out to you, sir. Included in the book is, let me just get this right, is the production numbers, the precise production numbers of the Submariner. And I suspect now, it's kind of confirmed a lot of, before it was speculation about how rare the 5512 was, not many were made, which further exacerbates my kind of deliberations about this. And the problem is I don't really want to get off the Tudor boat. I do love the brand. I've talked at great length, blah, 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 about my childhood connection to Hampton Court Palace, and the name certainly means something, and I feel like my time with the Tudor sub is at an end, but at the same time I want an even rarer one. Am I deluding myself? Am I trying to purchase back the love, if that makes sense? I'm sure Jeff McMahon can do some deep psychological analysis of the philosophical ramifications and meaning of all of this. And to make matters worse, I'm very close to purchasing my 10-year anniversary of the channel Grail watch. This, pun partially intended, would absolutely torpedo my funds for that. And now, many weeks later, I still can't get it out of my head. But then, like Baldrick, I had a potentially cunning plan.
Ninepence. Oh, God, what are we going to do?
Don't worry, Mr. B. I have a cunning plan.
Yes, Baldick, let us not forget that you tried to solve the problem of your mother's low ceiling by cutting off her head.
How about getting a snowflake dial Tudor instead? Or maybe the military-rich 7928, no date, that I've done a video on, aka the rose dial Tudor subby, and trading mine in to acquire it. There is one slight problem. The most venerated and desired Tudor subs that I've absolutely got a thing for, like late 90s Halle Berry, especially the no date, the prices are just insane. Well, here we go. We got a 9411, missing the loom pip, nice ghost bezel there. $8,834. What else have we got? Let's have a look. Not even a bezel on this one, and $7,495. It is the 9411, which is pretty historic. 8,450, but a lot of wear. Look at that, 7016. Nice dial. Good patina. The case isn't too bad, but look at the bezel. That's being polished down, certainly. Now we have il capo di tutti i capi. Have a look at this. $33,084. Why is that? Well, no date blue, and as you see on the back, it is the Marine Nationale numbered. Very, very rare. Now this, I have to say, is probably the most tempting. The 7928, let's turn around. The hands are slightly into a different hue than the dial, but you got that wonderful, this is the original smiling self-winding that inspired the early Black Bays with the rose logo. Oh, that is just gorgeous. Meraviglioso. Actually, the bezel's not bad either. That's pretty good. It's pointed. Ooh, a third of the price of my Grail watch, you know. That's a big chunk of my Grail watch funds, and that would put me back till next year. This one's promising. Let's have a look. No date, snowflake dial and a handset. 11 grand. Not too bad. Bit over polished. Oh, that is the Kipper's knickers, isn't it? To me, the original snowflake hands works only with the corresponding square and triangle marker at 12 layout. Once you see it, it can't be unseen mistake. That very much is the cause of the disharmony that ruins most Black Bays, and I stress this is only in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Black Bays are solid watches, but it's one of the many reasons I will always pick the more cohesive Pelagos over it. To celebrate this auspicious occasion of the launch of the new Rangemaster II, and we'll get back to watches in just a moment, I've decided to treat myself after all that hard work, and it was an insane amount of hard work. I'll discuss it in a video next week. I've decided to treat myself to a jacket I've wanted for absolutely donkey's years. This is the V-Racer jacket from Belstaff. So a little mini review. And no, this is not mindless consumerism. I've talked at great length about using an achievement then reward system as a motivational tool. In fact, recently the maestro of minimalist modest men and the king of beige, Brock McGough, did a superlative video. See what I did there? Did a superlative video, maybe his best to date, on a related subject by analysing David Fincher's movie Fight Club.
Now, of course, consumerism can go way too far, and it often does, and I think this is what Fight Club was addressing. But you don't need to feel bad about owning or wanting nice things. And you definitely shouldn't try to be a minimalist just because of social pressure, just because it's trendy. Minimalism is not a virtue, and it's not for everyone. It can be just as toxic as consumerism. So unless you're a hoarder, you're probably okay.
But the question is, why Belstaff? And is it worthy of the hefty 10 Benjamin price tag? If you follow my channel, you will know that I gravitate towards certain brands. And you would have undoubtedly noticed quintessentially British Belstaff being one of them for decades now. Primarily, it's the quality and classically rugged yet still modern styling that appeals to me. But like watches, it's also mostly to do with their heritage. Like the Purcell-clad Steve McQueen with his Hanhart 4170S he wore while motor racing, he also donned their most iconic wax cotton jackets, just like those worn by Kiefer Sutherland as the iconic Jack Bauer in 24. Jason Statham, yes, that's him before he became an action star, and now the epitome of macho cool. Always talks like this. It's a megalodon. I'm gonna beat you to death with my Panerai. And then there's Kevin Hart, Leonardo DiCaprio, Will Smith, and many others who have worn it on the silver screen. But for me, I adore the brand's sense of Britishness that comes from a legacy of first producing jackets, capes, and tents for the British Army, then becoming truly legendary by being the choice of icons like Amelia Earhart during her historic crossing, and most notably, explorer/motorcyclist T.E. Lawrence, as depicted in the Capo Lavoro Lawrence of Arabia, solidifying their status as one of the pioneers of high-end leather jackets, and kind of like tool watches becoming luxury. Oh, and it was in a Bond movie too, which never hurts. But personally, I prefer the less tactical, sleeker, and elegant look of the less lengthy V-Racer. A modern motorcycle jacket more akin to those worn by Tom Cruise with his suede Belstaff in Mission Impossible 3, or his leather Belstaff Hero jacket in War of the Worlds. I have to say I'm chuffed to bits. Wonderful stitching. You see the channel stitching on the top to reinforce the shoulders. There's a push stud for the top of the neck. The zips are very substantial. One upper pocket on the left with a zip, not very deep, you can't really put your phone in it, but there's a unzipped or non-zipped pocket on the inside, and then two zipped pockets here, down there. Now the quality is excellent. It's no longer made in England, unfortunately. I don't notice any discernible difference to my other made in England Belstaffs. The leather itself is a lambskin chevet or chevot, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. Very supple, very soft. It's supposed to be water repellent, but of course I'm not going to go in the rain with this. It's a slim fit, and I only have two critiques, aside from not being made in England anymore. If I bring in my Ventile, it's kind of like a Harrington style from Private White VC. On the back of this, you'll see there are adjustments here. You've got two positions. Oh wait, let me show you on this side. You've got two positions there to adjust the tightness on the waist. For me, this is absolutely fine, but if you're a bit wider or you want to tighten it up, I do like that. They offer that on other Belstaff jackets, leather jackets, not this one. I think the more expensive ones, but it does keep it kind of clean here. Very, very happy. Absolutely gangster. Love it. Now, just to give you an idea of value, my other go-to British brand for outdoor attire is Private White VC, and they have an entirely made in England interpretation of the Trial Master, shrewdly called the Twin Trial, priced at hold on to your butts, $2,500. I'm just saying. Anyway, back to my tempestuous deliberations with Submariners. Now, I want to be clear, it's not all I obsess about. I'm also currently getting back into the works of Bill Evans, exploring Japanese ambient music for the first time, and after rereading Self-Reliance by Emerson, that I talked about in a video recently, I'm now moving on to his nature essays, as well as binging any TV or movies written by the supremely talented Taylor Sheridan, and not to mention one of the best motivational books I have read in a long, long time by none other than Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. And trust me, it's absolute pure class. Normally, I'm not as conflicted about watches like this. I just unboxed my Navitimer, which I've been honeymooning. Actually, today is the first day I haven't been wearing it. And then it suddenly occurred to me, the watch I've worn the most for the last year, more than a year, has been the Panerai. I put it back in the bank vault because I wanted to give my other watches some time to enjoy. I've realized that it's kind of a cornerstone of my collection now, and it keeps me from wanting other watches, especially other divers. My slutty horological ways, you know, I'm not wandering off. And I did the mistake of also putting the Willard, my Seiko Willard, in the bank as well. So I think I have to go to the bank, get my Panerai out and see how I feel, because I think that's to blame. In closing, I've never not had a subby in the collection. My first was a ceramic sub to commemorate my 30th birthday. Since then, I've gone vehemently vintage. But like the Omega Speedy, which undoubtedly is one of the greatest watches of all time and will forever have a special place in my heart, I don't feel I need to own one anymore. The recent ball aching ad nauseum of the first Omega in Space release and all the subsequent hype, aside from all the pulled muscles in my face from so many yawns, it reminds me just how over the Speedy I am. Maybe I'm done with Submariners too. I have to go and return some videotapes and play some Command & Conquer. In the meantime, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Ciao.
Incoming transmission.
Upgrade complete. Welcome back, Commander.